It seems the Walt Disney Company is in talks currently with Amazon to take over a piece of ESPN, one of Disney's most lucrative properties. We're going to tell you everything that you need to know about what's going down right now and why the Walt Disney Company is doing this.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Let's get into it. Renegade Online. Well, folks, welcome back. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. It's good to see everybody out there once again. And if you are like one of the many folks watching this video, not yet subscribed to this channel, please take a moment and turn that little red subscribe button to gray. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell, share this sucker out on the social medias, and of course, please do leave a comment before you head out the door today. Here we have it just minutes ago. This on the wire from Reuters. Amazon is in talks with Disney about ESPN streaming partnership. Amazon is in early talks with Disney about working on the streaming version of ESPN that it is developing, while possibly also taking a minority stake in the sports network. Disney and ESPN are still in the midst of determining an appropriate price for the new service. Now, one of the things that folks need to really understand is how ESPN has become such a juggernaut over the years. Sports leagues have been increasing the amount of fees that they are charging their broadcasters, people like ESPN, people like ABC, NBC, CBS, Warner Brothers, all the big major networks that carry things like the NFL, the MLB, the NHL, the NBA, so on and so forth, professional golf, soccer, throw it all in there. Each and every time these contracts come up for renewal, these sports leagues are throwing it out for auction, and of course, they're asking for more and more money. It's incumbent upon the broadcaster who secures the contract to be able to generate enough revenue from advertising and, in this case, cable fees to make sure that it becomes a lucrative endeavor for them. ESPN is the biggest kid in the room. Let's say that you, as an American consumer, still have a cable subscription service. I do, as a matter of fact. And let's say you pay about $100 a month in today's numbers for that cable subscription service in 2023. Most of the channels that you see on your cable subscription service are maybe returning a few pennies, maybe 50 cents, 25 cents back to each and every individual channel that you have within your package. Of course, the overage is a profit for the cable service provider, but not ESPN. ESPN is the juggernaut, which reportedly collects somewhere close to $10 a month per cable subscription. That's right. For each and every one of you out there that has a cable subscription, ESPN is generally part of that basic cable package, and they are collecting the lion's share, or at least the largest single portion of any network that is on that cable subscription. And here's the catch. Only about 30% of the folks out there with cable subscriptions actually watch ESPN and live sports. Now, where the problem has come in over time is as cord cutting becomes more prevalent, those fees being returned to places like the Walt Disney Company and ESPN have shrunk. Where once there were close to 100 million different cable subscriptions in the United States, there are now close to 70 million. And that number is expected to drop closer to 50 million in just the next few years. You can see the problem for a network like ESPN, who has increasing subscription and licensing costs from the sports networks that they broadcast, while they have declining revenue from cable subscriptions being cut. So how then do they make up a shortfall if ESPN goes to a full streaming-only subscription, or at least in tandem with what's left in the cable universe? ESPN is considering charging between $20 and $35 a month for the new streaming service, which could make it the most expensive streaming service in the U.S. Amazon and the Walt Disney Company and ESPN did not immediately respond to Reuters' requests for comment. Yeah, and I'm not surprised. These talks are still in their nascent stage, and I'm sure they have a long way to go. But this is something that Disney seems adamant about doing, and quite frankly, they need the help. Amazon may honestly be the best partner for the Walt Disney Company in this. We've had a lot of discussions recently about Apple buying Disney, and we've given you all the reasons, along with many others out there on Wall Street, as to why that would be extraordinarily unlikely to happen. But the Walt Disney Company peeling off, say, 20 to 25% of an ESPN equity stake and spinning it out to somebody like Amazon, who has arguably the biggest and best distribution system in the world for something like this, is probably a very good move, not only for Disney, but Amazon as well. Remember that Amazon already has partnerships with big players like the NFL and their Thursday night football games. Amazon already has the capacity to broadcast live sports with advertising. The precipitously declining revenue coming in from cable subscription fees to ESPN could be bolstered by the most ardent of sports fans who would then subscribe and probably happily pay the $30 to $35 a month to get that kind of package. A lot of people that are hanging on to cable subscriptions right now are hanging on to them for live sports. The only other place you can get an ESPN package right now is through YouTube TV, which is, to my knowledge, the only streaming service that allows you to grab that. Now, over time, that will probably get bigger and a larger footprint, but if Amazon gets involved, you'll now have Google and Amazon that can offer ESPN. The other side of the equation as to why Disney has not yet been able to take ESPN to a streaming subscription that is direct to consumer from Disney is because of the agreements they have in place with all of those different broadband cable providers. People like Cox or Comcast, people like Spectrum, name the other dozens of cable and satellite TV providers out there. They sign exclusivity. In other words, in order for Disney to get that $9 to $10 a month from each of your cable subscriptions out there, Disney has to promise that they won't take ESPN in a streaming DTC package. But that could all come to an end the next time those contracts come up for renewal. We don't know exactly when those happen. They probably will cycle through different cable providers over the course of the next several years. So quite honestly, you could be living in one section of the country and suddenly have access to ESPN DTC in tandem with Amazon. But if you live 2 states over, you won't be able to access it because your cable provider still has an exclusive contract for broadcast. This is going to be a really interesting story to take a very, very close look at as it develops, and we will, of course, be covering it each and every step of the way as more news breaks. This is some fascinating stuff. Again, I think this is great for both parties, Disney and ESPN. Disney will get a much-needed infusion of cash for this equity stake they spin off, and they will have a very capable distribution partner for what is going to become the most expensive streaming product that exists. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like and subscribe, and until next time, take care.